जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी तथा गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudibrayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatir uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtuki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopakumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 11, Text 6. Chapter 11. Ten, 11, 6, yes. You have the verse. Okay. Ulukhalam vikarshantam damna baddam samatmajam vilokyananda prasad vadano vimochama. Ulukhalam vikarshantam damna baddam samatmajam vilokyananda prasad vadano vimochamaha. Ulokala vikarshantam dvamna badham somatmajam lokyananda prasad vadano vimummochaha. Ulukhalam vikarshantam damna badham samatmajam vilokyananda prasad vadano vimochamaha. Ulukala vikarshantam dvamna badham samatmajam vilokyananda prasad vadamo vimochama. Ulukala vikarshantam dvamna badham samatmajam vilokyananda prasad vadano vimochama. So we'll read the translation purport and then we will go to the other shlokas. Ulukhalam, the wooden mortar. Vikarshantam, dragging. Damna, by the rope. Badham, bound. Samatmajam, his own son Krishna. Vilokya, by seeing. Nandaha, Maharaj Nanda. Prasad Vadanaha, whose face began to smile when he saw the wonderful child. Vimumochaha, released him from the bonds. When Nanda Maharaj saw his own son bound with ropes to the wooden mortar and dragging it, he smiled and released Krishna from his bonds. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Nanda Maharaj was surprised that Yashoda, Krishna's mother, could have bound her beloved child in such a way. Krishna was exchanging love with her. How then could she have been so cruel as to bind him to the wooden mortar? Nanda Maharaj understood this exchange of love and therefore he smiled and released Krishna. In other words, as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, binds a living entity in fruitative activities, he binds Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj in paternal affection. This is his pastime. Puji, we can just read, just the translation of from the shloka 1 till 10. whoever, we can pass the mic if there is a mic, or you can. Or I can just read it, it's okay. If there's a mic. Okay, I'll just read it. Yeah. Sukadeva Goswami continued, O Parikshit Maharaj, when the Yamalarjuna trees fell, all the coward men in the neighborhood, fearing the fierce sound and hearing thunderbolts, went to the spot.
There they saw the fallen Yamala Arjun trees on the ground, but they were bewildered because even though they could directly perceive that the trees had fallen, they could not trace out the cause for their having done so.
Krishna was bound by the rope to the Yulkola, the mortar, which was dragging. But how could he have pulled it down the trees? Who had actually done it? Where was the source of this incident? Considering all these astounding things, the cowherd men were doubtful and bewildered.
Then all the cowherd boys said, "It is Krishna who has done this." When he was in between the two trees, the mortar fell crosswise. Krishna dragged the mortar and the two trees fell down. After that, two beautiful men came out of the trees. We have seen this with our own eyes.
Because of intense paternal affection, the cowherd men, headed by Nanda, could not believe that Krishna could have uprooted the trees in such a wonderful way. Therefore, they could not put their faith in the words of the boys. Some of the men, however, were in doubt. Since Krishna was predicted to equal Narayan, they thought, it might be that he could have done it.
When Nanda Maharaj saw his own son bound with ropes to the wooden mortar and dragging it, he smiled and released Krishna from his bonds.
The gopis would say, "If you dance, my dear Krishna, then I shall give you half a sweetmeat." By saying these words or by clapping their hands, all the gopis encouraged Krishna in different ways. At such times, although he was the supremely powerful personality of Godhead, he would smile and dance according to their desire, as if he were a wooden doll in their hands. Sometimes he would sing very loudly at their bidding. In this way, Krishna came completely under the control of the gopis.
Sometimes Mother Yashoda and her gopi friends would tell Krishna, "Bring this article," or "Bring that article." Sometimes they would order him to bring a wooden plank, wooden shoes, or a wooden measuring pot. And Krishna, when thus ordered by the mothers, would try to bring them. Sometimes, however, as if unable to raise these things, he would touch them and stand there. Just to invite the pleasure of his relatives, he would strike his body with his arms to show that he had sufficient strength.
To pure devotees throughout the world who could understand his activities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, exhibited how much he can subdue by his devotees, his servants. In this way, he increased the pleasure of the Vrajvasis by his childhood activities.
Once a woman selling fruits was calling, "O inhabitants of Rajabhumi, if you want to purchase some fruits, come here." Upon hearing this, Krishna immediately took some grains and went to barter as if he needed some fruits.
It's okay, you can read the 11. Just read one more and then that's it. She can just one more.
While Krishna was going to the fruit vendor very hastily, most of the grains he was holding fell. Nonetheless, the fruit vendor filled Krishna's hand with fruits, and her fruit basket was immediately filled with jewels and gold.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So as we see in this chapter, the prelude for this is actually Yashoda, Krishna's mother. It is said in Garga Samhita that Yashodapi Samuthaya Pratashri Nanda Mandire Bhande Gavyam Vinikshipya Mamantha Dadi Sundari. So usually in Nanda Maharaja's palace, beautiful Yashoda would actually put the yogurt in a jug and churn it. And actually when in the morning after Krishna is bathed, it is said that Manjira Ravam Sankurvan Bala Sri Nanda Nandanaha Nanartha Nanarthithartham Gavyadana Kuthahalat. So Lord Krishna wears anklets, and in the morning after his bathing, Sri Krishna, the Bala Krishna, is eagerly dancing actually to get some butter. Actually, it says it is not Krishna just came. He wanted to dance. And there is walking. As we say, Krishna's dance, his walk is also like a dance. So, Bala Kelir Bhavo Nrityam Matu Parshavam Anubhravam Sunadi Kin Kina Sangha Jankaram Karayanam Mukhu. So, dancing and following his mother, making his ornaments jingle sweetly, he played like a child. And the wonderful description about this is actually say that So kopi bala sarasirikshudha sa cha vradheshta jana padudhuli muhutadedat yugale madhye momuhyam ano api manasi udetu. So it is said that actually the sound made in each of Krishna's ankle bell, they have jewels. And when those jewels actually touch in each other, it is like in the morning when the Hamsa, the swan, comes in the morning lake, and when it touches the water, that is the jingling feeling when Krishna walks. This is the beauty of the sound made by Bala Krishna's walking. So the love for Mother Yashoda is so deep, it is actually described that Yashoda worships Krishna again and again, always. No matter every time she sees her child in the morning, her love for Krishna actually only grows. It doesn't decrease. And this is the beauty about the pastime. In this case, when morning, Krishna comes to ask. Of course, when Mother Yashoda is churning yogurt, what happens? He is begging for yogurt. And Krishna basically broke the yogurt churn. And it is said that Palayamanam Swasutam Yashoda Prabhavati Prapana Hasta Matrat Yogi Swaranam Apyo Durapaha Katham Samatur Grahane Prayayati. Beautiful Yashoda could not catch her fleeing son. In fact, what was the age of Krishna when he was doing Damodara Leela? Anyone knows? He's a 2 years, approximately 2 years, 3 months. He's a toddler. He's only crawling. He cannot walk. That is his actual age. So, Vasudeva Sutam, when Vasudeva sees itself in the prison, he is astonished. Tama Atmajam Balakam Ambushekshanam. He sees this form of Sri Krishna, knowing he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Same way, Krishna's potency hides. Even Yashoda cannot catch. Of course, it is only bound by the love. It is said that Tathapi Bhakteshu cha Bhakteshu Yasvataha Pradarshita Shri Harina Nripeshwara Balam Gritva Swasutam Yashomati Bhavanta Rajavata Rusahu Ulukhale. So that Ulukhale is that grinding mortar. And we know the mortar in those days, it's made of stone. Imagine a baby Krishna, just a toddler being bound. Why? Because Yashoda could not understand how mischievous Krishna could be at this age. So Lord Hari showed that he is always under control of Yashoda. And of course, we know the yopes become so small. Adaya yadyad bahudam dama tat swalpam prabhutam swasute Yashoda. Gunaircha badhe prakrite paroyaha katham sa badho bhavita damna. The ropes became so small. Yashoda could not understand. Her own hands got tied. Actually, he who is beyond the material world cannot be bound by any damna, but only by prema bhakti is how Sri Krishna gets bound. In fact, that's when Yashoda gets frustrated and depressed, she surrenders to Krishna. Even in Vatsalya Ras, we can see the bhavam which Yashoda, Krishna expects, surrender. We say Sarva Dharma Parityagya, even from his own mother. That is a loving exchange. But when she is frustrated, she says, now I leave. So then Krishna allows himself to be bound by her love, actually. In fact, this is the beauty of the love of Krishna. The more you let go, the more he binds you. The more you don't let go, the more we are bound by the ropes of this material nature in these fruitative activities. That is how it is. This is the beauty. In fact, tomorrow is, as we must know, is Madhavendra Puri's disappearance day. Madhavendra Puri is in the line of the sampradayam of coming where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come, Ishvara Puri. So, look at the surrender of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri has only taught ecstatic love for Krishna. Ei shloke Krishna prema kare upadesha Krishnera virahe bhaktera bhava vishesha. Only by feeling this separation, one becomes spiritually satiated, is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In fact, it is said the contrast of Ishvara Puri and Ramachandra Puri. Both of them wanted to serve Madhavendra Puri. So, service also has to be understood with surrender, actually. And once by really understand the passing away of Madhavendra Puri. So, in spite of doing all the devotional service to Sri Krishna, in his old age, he was actually very weak. And so he had two servants. So, Ishvara Puri was still understanding the mood of his spiritual master. And Ramachandra Puri didn't understand. He criticized his guru, his spiritual master, saying, I cannot feel the separation of Krishna. He's saying, Praghada premera I swabhava achara nija dukkha vignadira na kare vichara. This is the natural intense love which Yashoda feels, Madhavendra Puri feels, that one wants to serve Sri Krishna in all circumstances. So, we can see that the dust of the spiritual master of a Bhagavata can also make us attain his supreme abode. But the dust which is that potent can also make someone go to Narakaloka by offense to the spiritual master. The example is given like a sun. The sun nourishes everything. It can give nourishments to the plants to grow, but it can also burn. The question is, who is the recipient? We are the recipient. In 2 days, 3 days, we can say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance is celebrated. He is flowing mercy from there. The question is, we are not ready to hold it. Our heart has holes. We commit offenses. Everyone chants. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Saktihi. Everyone chants Tranadapi Sunichena. And then they question, I don't make progress. Because you commit offense. When you commit offense towards the Bhagavata, and in this shown, Ramananda Puri, he didn't understand the mood of his spiritual master. In fact, there's a pastime about Srila Prabhupada where Aravinda was one of his disciples. He wanted to get initiated in Krishna consciousness, and he came. And at same time, we can say spiritual master is very potent. Prabhupada is also rejected. So Aravinda came after some time. He told Prabhupada, I came. Someone told, oh, Prabhupada is in town, you should come and visit. And he said, yeah, Prabhupada came. I came to see you, but Krishna consciousness doesn't work out for me. Prabhupada said, it's good, I also don't want to see you. So the answer to that is, Prabhupada could have tolerated insult to him, but not to Krishna, not to Bhagavatas, not to Bhagavata Dharma. Similarly, one can say materially, externally, one may look happy, but mental stress or other things will happen. Progress is not done. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. In fact, people say, oh yes, it is the most potent avataram. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never used to allow anyone to touch him after sannyas. Sarup Damodar will never allow anyone to come him close. That is the strictness. One should be qualified to touch him. One should be qualified to understand the bhavam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu. It is as subtle as simple. As I said, the dust can elevate, but the same dust can take someone straight to Narakaloka. And it is true. And the reason for that is not that because our philosophy does not say you're rejected forever. Without prayashchittam and tapasya, you cannot go back. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept Raghunath Das Goswami till he proved how much surrendered he was, actually. How surrendered Raghunath Das Goswami was. He even tested Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. That is the thing. This test will come because without purification, anukulya sankalpasya pratigulpa varjanam. You cannot come to pratigulpa varjanam without anukulya sankalpasya, actually. So, Madhavendra Puri, you can see in all the difficulties, as we know there is a beautiful pastime of Shirachora Gopinath when he goes to Remuna. With so much great trouble, actually, he went to Malayadesh to procure the sandalwood. Bahu parishrame chandana remuna anila ananda badila mane dukka na ganila, actually. And he took all the personal trouble, actually. The same aspect is described, actually, this kind of offense, why it is important. Daksha humiliated Lord Shiva, actually. And Sati actually describes that the disrespect Daksha showed was not just by thought, even by words. Shiva is Vaishnavam Yatham. He is the Param Vaishnavaha. And there is offense by word, thought and deed. We know what was Daksha's punishment because he did by word. His head was chopped. We should understand why this gravity. Because only by prayashchitam and tapasya we can elevate ourselves. Actually. Sati understands everything. Lord Shiva knew. Same way, the sons of Kuvera, they actually got cursed by Narada. Why? Because they didn't understand. They showed offense by action. Actually. Yes, this was a prayashchitam for them. We think offense can be reduced by what we believe is the prayashchitam for it. That is not the case. Prayashchitam comes by the person who are offended. Actually. That is how it works. So we can see Narada cursed, but with the aspect that they have to wait that much time patiently, actually, to obtain Sri Krishna. And this is the beauty. Lord Krishna tests. But at the same point, it is said actually that in Vishnu Sahasranamam, he is called Gabiraha. The shloka is actually Mahavaraho Govindo Susheno Kanakangadhi Guyo Gabiro Gahano Guptas Chakra Gadadaraha. He is Guyo. He is very, very deep. He is very secretive. And what is the example given is Gabiraha. Do you know when we see an ocean which is clear water, you can see the depth, but you cannot measure the depth. That is how Sri Krishna is. The Nila Balakam Balasya is like that. Sri Krishna is transparent. You can see in the ocean, he is blue. You can see all the way down. But you cannot measure his depth. You can only measure his depth by pure devotional service and surrender. Actually, it is said the word is Gahanaha. He is deep, impenetrable. Even gopis, when he was doing Rasa Leela, he just vanished like this. That is a beauty of Sri Krishna. Even they cannot understand him, though they are so much surrendered actually. So Gahanam refers to a forest. Something we cannot see in a dense forest. We can know how dense it is. So this is the commentary which is given. That love for Krishna should be actually like that deep. That is what Mother Yashoda's love is. It is so deep it cannot be measured. In spiritual world, that is real prema. And this is the aspect which Madhavendra Puri also tries to show in his separation, actually, towards the end of his life, that how we should understand and be surrendered to Sri Krishna. Krishna says, one who leaves his body thinking of them, punar janmana vidyate. But the answer to the question is this. Krishna advised Arjuna, I have given you everything. You have free will. Ravana was a very learned Brahmana, actually. He is not an ordinary person, actually speaking. He was so learned. In fact, even he knew more than the sages. But what he had? He had ego. Ego of what is knowledge. He thought his free will is his destiny and choice. So we should understand that Leelas of Lord in the spiritual world or his Nitya Siddhas are facilitated by Sri Bhagwan. But for all of us, it is Prarabdha Karma. And we have free will and choice. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that which is difficult in the start will give actually benefit. And that which is easy in the start will be poison later. This also attains to devotional service. Krishna told Arjuna, now you fight. Don't be coward. But he didn't say to Arjuna, after you fight, you will win the battlefield. He said, either you will win the battle or you will attain heavenly planets because of death as a Kshatriya. He did not say, you will win. Yatra Yogeshwaro, Krishna is said by Sanjaya, actually. Krishna asks him to surrender, do the duty, whether you lose or fight. If you go away from a battle without fighting, then you are coward. That is what Krishna advised Arjuna. Prabhupada also took the same effort to come from there to here. Prabhupada did not say, okay, of course he is Acharya, he is not an ordinary personality, but he showed example to us. Not like, oh, all of a sudden I had heart attack, now I am going to go back after 1 month. No. Even if I fail, I will do it. Even if I have to fight the world, I will do it. That is a surrender. That is how Raghunath Das Goswami showed. Haridas Thakur, when he is about to quit his body, what did he say? I cannot chant. Mahaprabhu, I cannot chant any more rounds. He didn't say I have done enough. That is called surrender, actually. So, Bhagavan Sri Krishna wants us to show this love. And this love only comes by surrender to him, actually. It doesn't come artificially, actually. So, it is said that the beautiful form of Sri Krishna, when we see, it is said, Ayamena drishya vilasala taraya akshayam adrasmita chaya darshita sarera dendu lalitam chapala payatram shisho ayasan aparan vidhushya rasika ashvadyam danamuhu jiyat unmadavale kuchaha bharadam kishoram mahaha. It is said that this playful form of Krishna is called Akshayam. His long eyes. The baby form of Krishna, even a toddler has long eyes, actually. Ayamena. Adrishtsmita. It vanquishes the moon in the autumn. That smile of Lord Sri Krishna is like when the lotus is blooming in an autumn, actually. Those who are only attracted by him will leave all other works and enjoy this form of Krishna again and again. Ashwadyaman muhu. The last shloka, generally people when chant Damodarashtakam, Namo, how do you chant it? Namo Ananta Leelaya. People chant Namo Anta Leelaya. Anta means end. limited. It is Namo Ananta Leelaya Devyaya Tubhyam. His pastimes and leelas are unlimited. It has no bound. His love has no bound. This is what it is. The beautiful childhood form of Sri Krishna are those which are enjoyed actually. What did Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Machchita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam gathayanta samanityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Those who are engrossed in me, speak about me, communicate about me, they are contented. That is a bhavam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance is coming. But it cannot be just taken as some, oh, light, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. Yes, we want to spread the holy name. That is important. That is the step. But without expectation. How much surrender we are going to get. That is the key aspect. How much progress we are making. People are measuring progress in spiritual life. You cannot measure like a bar. There is no bar to it. There are shastras, Nyaya Niti Shastra are explained. But love cannot be measured, love cannot be explained. It has only to be realized. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gambhira would only allow his associates to touch him. Only one is qualified to touch Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, be with him. Then one will advance. Touching does not mean physical touching. Touching from the heart. Your bhavam, jivatma, soul, that is real touching. How much surrendered you are. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time, he followed so strict norms as a sannyasi. Because a sannyasi cannot allow women to touch him. But it does not mean, because Bhagavan Sri Krishna doesn't differentiate between man or woman. Forget man and woman. He doesn't differentiate between animal also. Because the same Jivatma in an animal and us is the same. He is equal to all. So that is the beauty of Sri Krishna. As we know the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the forest. In fact, even when Sri Rama was walking through the forest, all those 14 years, all the plants, animals, they were all enamored by the beauty of Sri Rama. Even the sages of Dandakaranya could not control their affection for Sri Rama. They got attracted to him. They got perplexed. How as a man I could be so physically drawn to Sri Rama? Well, because he is Bhagavan. They could not understand. But that is the inner love when you come to that stage. So, it is said that Lord Sri Krishna gives this understanding. But it's a question of how much we want to come closer to him. So, it is also said that Madhurai karasam vapu viboho Mathura vitharcharam bhajamahe Nagare mrigasaba lochanaha Nayanen divara varsha varshitham. So, Lord Krishna moves in the streets of Mathura just like a young deer. And it's like everywhere he walks. It is just like lotuses blooming wherever he touches, wherever he walks. Every feet of his, it is just like a lotus blooming. That is the beauty. Madhurai karasam, Madhuradipate, Akila Madhuram we know. So this is the beauty. It says like Mrigasaba lochanaha. Look at him with your eyes resembling lotuses. Imagine when Yashoda bound with Damna, how small his lips would have been. Actually, how small. In fact, in his waist, he was still wearing ankle, waist hip belt. Even that is jingling. It says, there's a very beautiful song written. Parama Purusha Jagadishvara Pankajanabha Murare. How deep his navel was, even as a child. That is the beauty of Sri Krishna. So we can see that in this pastime of Yamalarjuna trees falling, what does Krishna want us? The goal of this whole pastime is to uproot us from this material universe. But the ropes we are bound is by karma, fruitive activities. People think when Sati explained this, many people are misunderstanding. Durvasa Muni did offense, yes, but one should also understand Durvasa is also someone who is present to assist. Do you know who gave the mantra to Kunti to have the Pandavas? It is Durvasa Muni. It is he who gave. So if Durvasa Muni didn't give the mantra to Kunti, now Pandavas would have been born, now Mahabharata would have also happened. So Durvasa Muni is only present as a entity for assisting in the pastime of the Lord. He is not some ordinary person, because we say the pastime, yes, he offended Ambarish Maharaj. But imagine he didn't give the mantra. What would happen? Not just Pandavas. The main aspect of Mahabharata war is Karna being disrespected. So without Karna and Pandavas, there is no Mahabharata war actually. Especially Karna. So one should understand that great personalities, they are assisting in the Leela of the Lord. Our intuitions or own analysis cannot be our intuition. Our free will cannot be intuition. That is prarabdha karma. That is why even Duryodhana had a choice. Ravana had a choice. He used his free will, but not free will which is towards dharma and shastra. We also have free will in life. Someone wants to come to temple, someone doesn't want to come to temple. That's okay. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rewards them as they come. But how much surrender? As much. And that is a reality. And it means that we should be humble enough. So anyway, the beauty of, I will just end today's class, it's 8:15, so we can talk about the beauty of Sri Krishna. So I will just end with this wonderful shloka. Is Parya kulena nayananta virambhisena vaktrena kamala darasmita vibhramena mantrena manjula tarena jalpitena nandyasya hanta tanaya hridayam dhunoti. The son of Nanda Maharaj excites the heart with his glance. So whenever Krishna even walked with the mortar he was pulling, he was actually constantly moving his face, an enchanting soft smile, and his speech was so sweet. Even his pulling was sweet actually. And this is what we say, that nayananta vibvijara bhitena, ever moving beautiful face. So this is the short description. As I said, to describe our beauty of Balakrishna, 20 minutes is not enough. You can go forever. So I will end today's class. If people have any questions or comments. Yes, Prabhuji. Don't have is there a mic? I just pass the mic, so.
What we've read about Durvasa Muni, it always seems like he's angry, or, two stories come up when I think of Durvasa Muni. First, there's how he almost put the Pandavas in jeopardy because he showed up after dinner when they didn't have anything to offer him to eat. And if Krishna hadn't intervened, then like all hell would have broken loose, what was going to happen. Like if Durvasa Muni was offended, he's got 1,000 disciples, and Draupadi didn't know what to do because she's done cooking, everybody's eaten, there's not a grain, or there's nothing left, and so they're all worried because, oh my God, if we offend Durvasa Muni, then it's going to be, I don't know what was going to happen, but because Krishna intervened. Krishna said, well, give me a grain, and then everybody was full. And then the other Durvasa Muni story is him being furious with Maharaj Ambarish because he drank water on the Ekadasi and broke the fast without him. So you get this impression that he's easily angered. He seems to be proud and he's ready to curse,
Yes.
curse somebody. So what? How can we understand how he's? We always say he's a great personality, but is he a devotee or is he?
He is, because he is assisting in, as I said, if he had not given the mantra to Kunti, Pandavas would have never been born. There's no Mahabharata war. So you have to understand that these personalities are there for a reason. Durvasa is an expansion of Lord Shiva, born from his sweat and anger. So, yes, there are reasons of it. Certain avatarams come, some certain aspects come, but the rest of it is all because they are there to assist in the Leelas. That's it. It is better, these examples are given for us to take how we should improve rather than us judging them. That's what I would say. So, anyway.
Prabhuji, you were mentioning Arjuna on the battlefield. And I was thinking about how, as devotees, we're encouraged to be humble. And so sometimes we get put into positions where it's service, but that service can inflame our ego, right? We do something nice and we get appreciation from the devotees and we go, So sometimes as devotees, because of that humility, we'll choose not to do the service. We don't want to do it through ego. But it seems like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying you got to do your duty. So what does a devotee do when they have service that can inflame their ego, but then yet it seems sinful also to not do the duty?
Well, it's a good question. So the answer is you have to do it. See, personal choices are different. If someone has a personal choice, they should do the service. But by service only ego goes away. By not doing, it doesn't go away, actually. It's a very difficult question. It's a very valid question, but most people will face it. And sometimes, of course, practicality happens, but reality is, if you don't do it, then it's okay. It doesn't mean Krishna doesn't want you. It means you will make less progress. Like, when a spiritual master asked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked some of his servants, they didn't do it at that time. They do it later. So they lost the opportunity. It'll come back again. So it's all about how much surrender, how much we want to advance. But we cannot say that by doing that service means we'll advance. Then there's the ego as well again. If you think by doing this service we'll advance, then that is again expecting in return. It'll happen. I mean, initial stages people will know, but eventually you should not think like eventually. In initial stages, it's okay.
I guess that's why it's a battlefield in a sense.
It is.
It's a fight.
It's always a fight.
Arjuna's fighting the Kauravas, right? Or the Kurus.
But internal.
Right? But we're fighting our ego.
Yes, yeah.
And I really appreciate this point that by doing the service, and if I'm hearing you correctly, trying to do it in the right mood, that's how we become purified.
Yes,
If
correct.
we run away from it, we don't even give ourselves a chance to become purified.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Okay. Prabhuji, there's another question.
Prabhu, while you were sharing about Mother Yashoda's love, I had a question that a lot of times it happens, maybe someone is serving, like doing some service for the Lord, but they might not have the bhav. Is that an offense?
No, it's not an offense. It takes time to come. The simple answer to that is, it's okay. However you